Okay, so we're starting.
Finally.
Yeah. So this is the Talk Nerdy With Me podcast, and we're your hosts. I'm Brittany,
I'm Adam.
and this is our first episode,
It's our pilot.
our pilot episode. Just to kind of give you like a brief idea of what we're going to be talking about. I feel like you have a better idea of what we're going to be talking about.
We're going to be talking about anything pop culture. It's going to be a lot of superheroes, a lot of movies, a lot of comic books,
A lot of yeah.
potentially video games.
Potentially, yeah. But right now we're starting because we've been really, really into WandaVision. So specifically right now, I guess like our pilot episode is going to be talking about the first 5 episodes of WandaVision that have come out already.
Yeah, just a little review so far of what we think about the series, our thoughts on how it compares to everything else that Marvel has done and what this means for, the future of the Marvel universe.
Yeah. And just like our theories on what is going to happen next. We really actually wanted to get this started a while ago, but
we get distracted very easily.
And I needed to buy a mic because I feel like without a mic, can you even have a podcast?
So now you're official.
I'm official. We're official. And I'm really excited because you're doing it with me.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah. So I hope this is fun. I hope we all have a good time. And yeah, I mean, obviously it's just kind of like a place for us to like talk theories and just be a little bit nerdy.
Yeah, and we figured we spend hours talking about this kind of stuff anyway, so might as well see if anyone shares the same opinions as us.
And we've been doing so much research. I feel like WandaVision like brought out like the research monkeys in us. Yeah, it's really weird.
Definitely.
But I'm excited because, I mean, just to kind of give you a little bit of background, when we first met, he was like a diehard DC fan. And I've always been a diehard Marvel fan. I've always been a diehard X-Men fan. And then obviously that bled into Marvel. So, yeah.
Batman will always be number 1.
Well, I kind of like Iron Man better.
It's a debate. It's another debate we'll get into.
That'll be a different day. But I'm excited because I feel like we have very like differing opinions of what we actually like to see in superhero things. And it'll be interesting to kind of see us battle it out. Plus, like now, he's a huge Marvel fan because obviously the Marvel movies are better than the DC ones.
We're excited for the Snyder Cut, though. So we'll see if we change our opinions.
Okay.
It's rated R now.
Yeah. I mean, lots of things are rated R and that aren't good.
It's 5 hours long.
That's longer than Lord of the Rings. But yeah, so okay, let's get into it or else we're gonna be here like actually 5 hours for our first episode, and we're trying to not do any editing. So trying. Well, okay, so WandaVision, obviously I feel like everyone knows what WandaVision is, but we're going through the decades in each episode, and so we're gonna be talking about the first 5 episodes here. So if you haven't caught up to that, maybe don't watch because we're not going episode by episode. It's definitely going to be like the entire
bigger picture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, right off the bat, like when we've watched the first episode, I mean, besides me being incredibly disappointed in the fact that it was like a 20-minute long episode, it was exciting.
Yeah.
Just like the idea that we don't know what's going on and we're getting like pulled into a world where everything's black and white. It's the 50s and Wanda and Vision, who's supposed to be dead, are together.
Yeah. Right off the bat, I mean, I feel like it's definitely been a confusing series, but I think it's by far probably the most innovative thing they've done just because they really have stuck true to all the sitcom tropes, and mimicking for each decade. But now we have dropped in a hint of mystery. So blending the two together, I just feel like is nothing that they've done before. And it's really cool to see them do it pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And I feel like it was really just cool because, I mean, obviously just as fans of like the Marvel Universe, we were enjoying it no matter what. And then to realize that there was just like so much nuance and so many Easter eggs being dropped. Like, I didn't think it was going to have that much of an impact on the Marvel world overall. Yeah. Like, I mean, I figured obviously a little bit, but I didn't think it was going to be major.
Yeah. It's cool because in all the movies, like obviously they pull from the comic books to create the story, and they have like little hints and Easter eggs in the background. Mm-hmm. But in this episode, every single scene, every single color they use, every shape in the background.
Color.
color, shape, anything.
Well, it was black and white in the first episode.
Okay, well, the rest of them aren't. But every little thing in every scene just feels like a whole nother Easter egg. You know, and a lot of people have been making calls to the old comic books and images in the actual scenes. Even like the number on a cop car being a reference to, a comic book, issue.
I was gonna say, even the
Vision and Wanda.
Yeah, and even the way that the commercials are like actually a bigger deal than what we would think they are, or even just like how like the idea behind potentially the reason that they're in a sitcom is because Wanda and her brother were likely watching sitcoms of like old American reality shows, and like that's what Wanda would want her life to be.
Yeah, and I think to this point they did a really good job at keeping the sitcom theme going really strong through the first 3 episodes, and then now that it's 4, we're really getting it turned into a mystery. I think the transition is like intense.
Yeah,
like it's really just went 0 to 100 as far as, oh wow, now this is happening.
Yeah.
So
well, because it's definitely, you're right, because like even though we're still sticking to some of like the major sitcom tropes, I think episode 5 really is starting to completely shift away from the sitcom idea.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, even to the point where like obviously the aspect ratios have been changing versus when like you're in the reality show and like the actual like Marvel Cinematic Universe, and for most of the 5th episode you're in Marvel Cinematic Universe shape, so like
present time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's not, even though you are sticking to the sitcom, they're making a distinction that like it's finally falling apart.
Yeah.
But I mean, so far obviously basically we had the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. We had the episode that they finally kind of show us what's happening outside in the outside world, and they go over the first 3 episodes again basically, and then the 5th episode being in the 80s, and lots happened. I mean, I don't think I ever would have guessed that she was gonna become pregnant with twins in the first episode.
And it's kind of funny too, because they really are going by the decade, but we still haven't really gotten an answer to why that is either.
Yeah,
starting with the 50s and going
well,
all
I mean,
the way
to
up.
be fair, Vision did make a point of it, though. He's like, you're going to go to sleep and then you're going to change everything all over again at the end of episode 5. That's like what he told her. So like they're noticing it, which is something that like I didn't really think about, like I didn't think about everyone noticing that it was the decades. I felt like, I don't know why, but I thought that for some reason they were living through the entire decade, or not even like living through it, but like dreaming it and then like waking up in the new decade.
No, and I think one thing that's really interesting too is the way the show is acknowledged within the show.
Oh my God,
because they're actually watching it through the TV, so it is, sort of breaking that fourth wall where they're kind of in our shoes watching, the same thing that we're watching, and having to diagnose it the same way we are. And the scene where they have that whiteboard and they're asking all these questions.
Why hexagons?
It was, exactly. That was literally us sitting here asking the same thing.
Yeah, no, because I mean, there's like the theory that like it's a hexagon because those were what like the pixels are in TVs and like things like that, and the color scheme and everything. But then obviously there's also the hexagon because it's like one of the most structurally sound structures.
Yeah, and then a hex.
Like, which could easily mean a curse.
Yeah. And that's her like main power in the comic books is to make hexes.
Magic, right? But I don't know. I mean, I think it's been really interesting. Obviously, like the cast of characters is really interesting. I think that even though we have like the 2 people that we know super well, I didn't think that they'd bring in so many new people.
Yeah.
Like just within the town. Like, I mean, who the heck is Norm? Who are all these people?
Yeah.
And then like Agnes.
Maybe Agatha.
Right, maybe Agatha. But Agnes, she's been sus since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
But it's just interesting to see them all and to already feel like you know them.
Yeah. I think it's a good balance of characters because obviously with all the new people, we just met a lot of them, like you mentioned. But then you have guys like Jimmy Woo and, is it Darcy?
Yeah, like
Darcy
side
coming
characters.
Back from Thor that are just the perfect side characters to keep you entertained in the back.
They're the perfect people to watch a reality show with because it's like we're watching it with them.
Exactly.
I mean, Darcy at the end of episode 5 just looking at the TV and being like, she recast Pietro. Yeah. Like that was everyone, you know? So like
no, everyone keeps joking. They're like, all right, if we get another spin-off series, it has to be Jimmy and Darcy just doing
things.
Yeah, just being in like secret agent or
Living
FBI
life.
agents or whatever. Yeah.
I didn't think that Darcy was going to be a scientist. Just because like, like I told you, like in the Thor movies, she's the assistant. but she doesn't normally seem like she knows what's going on. Yeah. And so it was really interesting to see her actually have like that title, that like degree, and to like be the person that's in charge of all of this.
Especially now, she's the person in the room who like, you know, is pretty laid back on the front, but inside, like, she knows smart. What's going on. Yeah. She's just a genius in the room.
I love it. So, and then you have Jimmy Woo, who he's the perfect himbo. Oh, I want a whole episode of our podcast on himbos. That's all I want to do one day.
Himbo history.
No, just not even just himboism. Himbology.
Himbology.
Like wombology.
The study of himbo.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That'd be great.
No, Jimmy Woo's great though.
He's awesome. He's just adorable. And it's been fun. And then also to have freaking Monica Rambeau.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's
been a great character so far.
She's been awesome.
Yeah,
and like
from the start I really liked her.
It's been such a good like casting. I mean, in general, I feel like
she's a great actress.
She's great, obviously. And then like just I like her role in it because we really didn't know where it was going to go in the first few episodes. She's brainwashed like the rest of the town and she's just there to help. And then she starts to realize what's going on after delivering the twins.
Yeah.
And gets pushed back out into the real world. And like we didn't know what she was going to do. Like we thought that she was going to think that Wanda was the villain because she literally says it's all Wanda. But instead we're kind of seeing her fight for Wanda, which I was incredibly impressed with.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Okay, we can probably start talking about theories unless there's anything like major that we've missed in like our kind of recap ideas. I mean, okay, obviously the commercials.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a big thing to like talk about is just like having how there's a commercial in each of the episodes and they seem so innocent, but they're like layered with tons of like Easter eggs and potential, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing about the commercials and one thing you can kind of connect them all together with is that each one seems like a decent point of, you know, her life that ended traumatically. So in some way, shape, or form, you know, each commercial, it either gives a name or a situation, and you can just see all the things that, you know, they've shown Wanda that's happened to her.
It's almost like she's reliving her trauma through the commercials, exactly. Like in a very like innocent way that like is able to be processed by her mind.
Yeah, and it's a weird correlation too. But you look at the first one, and it's Stark Industries.
And it was the beeping toaster, which could easily sound like a bomb that's about to go off.
And that was what it was. That's the nuke that killed their family, their parents.
That could have.
When they were children. The second one was Strucker Labs, Strucker Watches.
Right.
And like, Strucker was the one who
put them under the testing.
Yeah, who was experimenting with them.
Yeah.
With the Infinity Stone.
Yeah.
What was the third one?
The third one, we were in the 70s for that one. So she was pregnant. Wasn't that the getaway in the bathtub?
Yes, getaway in the bathtub, and it was just called Hydra Soaps, I think.
I think so too.
Yeah, it was just Hydra Soaps, and Hydra again is the same as Strucker. And then in the newest episode, we had Lagos. Paper towels.
Lagos.
And Lagos is in Civil War. That was the country where she blew up that building when.
Yeah,
what was his name? Crossbones. Crossbones tried to blow up Captain America, and she got him out of the area, but she threw him up into a building, which blew up and killed a lot of people.
Well, because he was gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And like he was gonna kill so many people, and she tried to prevent a tragedy and ended up killing more people.
Yeah.
But
so I think what'll be interesting is if in the next episode or two, one has to do with either Thanos or the Infinity Stones. Or like, you know, Vision in some way because of losing him.
Could easily have to do with
or
just
even
the Mind
Quicksilver.
Stone. Oh, Quicksilver and his death.
Yeah.
Ultron, something to do with Ultron.
Yeah, Ultron for sure.
There's a lot to like find in the shows. I mean, even just the fact that like we've seen a vision with like looking like the dead. Like that was just something that I didn't see exactly coming. But, I mean, I feel like this is actually probably a good enough time to start talking about potential theories.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the big thing about the Pietro reveal being played by Evan Peters is that, you know, leading into theories, we don't really know what this means, but it means something. And it's, you know, probably more of a long-term thing because obviously...
It could easily have to do with, like, the dimensions mixing at this point because obviously we know that there's a Doctor Strange movie coming out.
Yeah, so this movie is WandaVision is supposed to lead directly into Multiverse of Madness, where Scarlet Witch, Wanda, is supposed to be one of the main characters supporting Doctor Strange. But aside from that, bringing Pietro from the X-Men series, we also think maybe this
finally have the
merging of the X-Men. Because in House of M, which is loosely what the story is kind of based off of, that's a comic series, it is pretty much about Scarlet Witch giving all the X-Men characters their favored reality. And so people have been rumoring for a while that this is how they will eventually merge the two together, and give us X-Men in some way, shape, or form. So Pietro being showing up as the new Quicksilver in this is probably the first step to a lot happening. And we can only hope that at some point we might get a version of Magneto. That's more of a pipe dream, just because obviously the original actor is pretty old. And the newer one.
I honestly like the newer actor.
Yeah, I think the newer one would be cool too.
Well, especially like he is admittedly Quicksilver's dad in X-Men.
Exactly, they made the connection.
Like they actually did, like full on. He was like, "Oh, that's my dad."
Yeah, and so what I've been thinking is because the way they kind of alluded to how Quicksilver showed up in this episode was the twins pressing her about, did you have a twin? Did you have a brother? And
talking about bringing people back.
Yeah, and so at the end of this, he ends up coming
saying,
through the door.
Like, family's everything.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So what I'm thinking in the next episode or next 2 episodes, what might happen is, there's a point where in the trailers we see Vision kind of flying throughout the city looking like he's trying to escape the bubble. What I think might happen is, while that's happening and he's gone, the kids are like, where's dad? I miss him. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, your father has stuff to do. He's probably going to be back soon. And maybe one of the twins asks, does your father ever disappear? Or what happened to your father?
Yeah.
And then again, she does a little thing where she ponders. She kind of like stares around. She gets a little bit emotional. Because
obviously we have like the classic story, like the one that her and Pietro already had where they died in that bombing in Sokovia.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now Pietro isn't Pietro, so it could easily change.
Yeah. And, of course, we could always say, I don't know if they would ever do it, but they could have just been foster parents in the first place. Because, especially even in the X-Men series, Magneto is not his legit dad. He's, the mom is single, and she raised him by herself. So,
in the series, he, like, fathered them, but he didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, it's just, it's a cool theory. I mean, like, I don't know if Magneto's going to be coming in the next few episodes. That's not something that I feel like is going to happen yet.
Well, one important thing is that Elizabeth Olsen. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth Olsen mentioned at some point we may have, a cameo comparable to the end of the Mandalorian series, which was Luke Skywalker showing up.
Spoiler.
We already know spoilers.
Well, I mean...
So, spoiler alert.
Anyways.
Spoiler alert.
But, like, and the thing is, it's like, obviously, you could assume that was Quicksilver, but, like, that was not on the same level as the ending of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, not even the same stratosphere.
No, not even. But, like, it's just, I mean, personally, I think that we're going to start to have a lot of, like, breaking down happening. I mean, everyone wants to assume, that, obviously, that Wanda's in control of everything that's going on, but I personally don't believe that at all. I mean, I think that she has obviously a level of control. Oh, fuck. Have I been recording? Did I? Shit.
It's tough.
Sorry for the change in audio, that brief moment. I forgot to turn the mic back on. In House of M, she is losing control of her powers because she no longer has her twins. They've been trying to erase the twins out of her memory. She's unknowingly warping reality around her and is becoming a danger to everyone. And they're trying to take her down, basically. She's bringing back people that are dead. She's accidentally changing everyone's lives. And it's all because she's going a little crazy because her twins get taken away. But I'd hope that they wouldn't go down that route. I mean, they've already said that they wouldn't, I think, but I just don't believe that she's actually as in control of this warped sitcom reality as they're trying to make it out to be. Because the thing is, it's so obvious. Like, Marvel is, like, throwing it in our face that she's in control, that she knows what's going on, that she can do all this. And I really feel like Marvel doesn't just give you the answer. You know what I mean? They're going to pull the rug out from under you. I truly believe that, like, I mean, obviously, Agnes being Agatha, what's her face? Agatha Harkness. Obvious theory. I feel like that's definitely a thing. And I personally believe that she's the one that's more in control of this reality than Wanda. I think Wanda definitely can flex her control and, like, do certain things and directly has an impact on the scenes that she's in, but I feel like at all other times she isn't. I mean, she even says in the episode, she's like, you really think I'm the one that's getting people to their dentist appointments and remembering how to do that all day? Like, you really think that's me? And, like, no, I don't think that is you. I think that, like, they're just trying to make it out to be you.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, like, the obvious answer is to say she's going crazy, but I think it's more of she's being kind of, like, seduced in the sense she's being not even controlled, but just kind of pushed to make certain decisions and, affect the reality in a certain way.
I mean, even this whole time, there've been people noting that Agnes says something, and then later on in the episode it appears. Second episode, she even asked her, she was like, oh, this is a great neighborhood for kids, like if you and Vision ever have it. And then later the entire episode becomes about for the children. Yeah. She always is coming in with the right items.
She's almost kind of just like planting a seed.
Yeah.
And then she, like, Wanda will, make it from there. But
exactly. Or like even like in the 5th episode when she's spraying the little children and she's like, oh, you can't control them, and like all this kind of stuff, and suddenly they're aging up. Like, it just doesn't seem, I don't know, it doesn't seem like something that others are controlling. It seems like she knows how to push everyone's buttons if she isn't the one directly in control.
Yeah.
I mean, and I even told you, like, I feel like when she's going in and out from, like, when Wanda's going in and out from the barrier between the town and, like, the real world, she walks out pretty easily. Like, it kind of, like, warps around her, but she walks out. Well, when she comes back in, I know that a lot of people think that, like, when she pulls her arms out, it's just her turning the dome red. But I honestly think that it's her, like, pulling the dome apart to get back in. And obviously using her power for it, which her power's red. So.
Yeah, I mean, I still do think she definitely has some. I just can't imagine this ending with her being the actual villain. You know what I mean? I think she's kind of being set up to look like it.
Totally.
For it to definitely end up being a twist and, another character who's convincing her to do, any part of it. But
well, because even like Vision, like apparently in his will, he said that he didn't want to be brought back from death, and obviously we're assuming right now that that's exactly what happened with Wanda and Vision. Like, he really is a dead version of himself and she's animating him or something along those lines. We saw a breakout scene happen where she broke him out of sword.
Yeah.
And
that's interesting too, because you have to wonder, because they definitely look like they were operating on him, and the director mentions that Vision put in his will he didn't want to be resurrected, let alone used as a weapon. So for them to be doing any kind of tests on him, being the only vibranium android.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even like how the sword acronym changed for this series.
Yeah, because in this one it's sentient weapon observation, sentient world. So usually it's sentient world and they are based in space. And in this one it is sentient weapon.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, you have to
and
wonder.
And obviously sentient weapons are like AIs.
You have to wonder if they're maybe trying to recreate another Ultron.
Another Ultron, or kind of like take advantage of Vision's great powers and make Visions. If someone doesn't want to be resurrected from the dead, you're going to tell me that 5 years later, he is still being held in your facilities with all these cables attached to him with tests being ran?
Yeah.
It just doesn't seem, even if you're not bringing him back, because obviously they weren't, since it looked like all his limbs were split apart.
Yeah, he was in pieces.
Yeah, his head was apart, his torso was apart, his arms were like, obviously, you weren't trying to bring him back from the dead. But, like, in that case, what are you doing with him? And why did Wanda look directly at him when she said, no one's going to take what I have again?
Yeah. I feel like the easy answer is that he's maybe a bad guy. Like, obviously. Posing as someone, who got into S.H.I.E.L.D. sword. And there's always the chance he could be a Skrull.
Oh, yeah, because, I mean, there's that whole, like, series where the Skrulls are impersonating people on them.
Yeah, so that'll be coming out soon. It's called Secret Wars. And especially at the end, well, another spoiler alert, at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, we found out that Nick Fury, the guy acting as Nick Fury, was a Skrull the whole time. And it's interesting, too, because at the end credits, we see...
Wait, he was a Skrull the whole time? I thought he was just living with the Skrulls.
Who?
Nick Fury, when he's in space.
He in space is Nick Fury.
Oh, okay,
The one on Earth pretending to be,
Okay, yeah.
But another thing, too, when Nick Fury was in space, we had to assume that was maybe the Sword headquarters up in space.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what we think at first, but considering it was mainly Skrulls, now we don't really know. But that was the assumption at first.
That's true.
So
actually, it's really interesting to think that Far From Home is happening just at about like a similar timeline as this.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, not even, actually. It's happening after. Because
it's pretty close.
No, Far From Home, they even said they made them restart the year. And so if Blip happened and they're restarting the year, wouldn't it be the end of the year now? So they've lived a whole year?
So Far From Home is 8 months after Endgame, and WandaVision is right after that.
Yeah, so Far From Home has technically happened way past WandaVision.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm not really surprised with Far From Home that it didn't have, because I mean, Scarlet Witch and Spider-Man on screen together just doesn't really sound fitting yet.
It would be interesting actually to, because I know that right now the way that Scarlet Witch is being played out is that they're saying like every single episode is only one day in the real timeline. But it would actually be fascinating to find out that like
This was years.
It's been months. It's been months, but everyone that's been like pulled in, like even the people that are on the sidelines that are watching, it feels like days for them. But like, I mean, it would kind of play into the whole like she's been pregnant, like 9 months pregnant out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But like, it could go either way, obviously, but I just feel like if you're gonna tie in potentially Spider-Man 3 with Multiverse of Madness with WandaVision, it should be happening at the same time. Honestly, as far as like the kids go, because I know there's like lots of theories on like whether they both have reality powers, while like in the comics one of them definitely has like Wanda's reality powers and the other one's supposed to be like a speedster like Quicksilver, right?
Speed and Wiccan.
I wonder if in this they're both just gonna have reality powers.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so personally, but
yeah,
it is kind of weird that they can both just age at will.
It's so strange. Again, I really feel like Agnes is influencing the kids a lot now too, because this whole episode, it's like things that Agnes is saying that are making the kids question Wanda. Like it wasn't until Agnes came over that they decided to age up to 5 years old. It wasn't until Agnes happened to come with a doghouse when they found a dog.
Yeah.
That later gets killed by Agnes's azalea bushes.
Yeah.
That leads them all into believing in resurrection. Like, suspicious.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you, like I think that if they do have reality powers, that Agnes is taking advantage of their reality powers and like having them kind of warp everything around them too.
Yeah, definitely.
But who knows? Who knows? I guess like for the next episode, like this upcoming episode specifically, what do you think is going to really happen besides potentially Magneto?
I can't remember. I don't think this is the Halloween episode.
I think it is. No, I think this is the Halloween episode. Mm-hmm.
I don't think they've shown anything from this
episode. But this is exciting because it's going to be the 90s episode.
That's what I mean. I'm pretty sure.
No. So the 90s episode is Full House.
Yeah.
Because obviously Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, they better make a lot of jokes about that.
Oh, I'm so ready for it. Like, I'm literally preparing myself for the theme song.
That's why I'm wondering, though. I feel like from the trailers, I haven't really seen anything that represents anything 90s. So
I felt like his outfit was super 90s. Like, his version of his Vision costume, that felt so 90s to me.
Yeah.
Like, it felt old school. That was not a new version of a Vision costume. Do you know how, like, in the 90s, like, whenever they had, like, costumes for superheroes, they were always, like, that weird, like, head cap thing? And that's exactly what he has. I feel like this is actually going to finally be the Halloween episode, which is cool because at the end of this last episode, Vision literally asked Wanda, he's like, then where are all the children? Where are all the children, Wanda? And like you said, in the Halloween episode, there's suddenly all these children.
Yeah, so that's why chronologically that makes sense. But that just doesn't look, that looks like 90s to you?
Yeah.
Really? The background and everything?
Yeah.
Pretty sure this is supposed to be a Modern Family house.
No, that definitely actually is giving me Modern Family vibes, but like Vision's outfit.
No, I know the outfit, but that's the point of the outfit. It's supposed to look like their retro thing.
Oh, that's 1000% Modern Family. Like her looking into the camera and saying like, guess it's the case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
But also case of the Mondays, so that means it's Monday when we just saw Saturday. So Sunday is gonna be.
They said
it
wasn't Saturday though.
It was Saturday in this last episode 5.
I thought the kids said it wasn't Saturday.
No, the kids said it was Saturday. They're like, why is Dad at work on a Saturday?
Right.
And so that means Sunday is the 90s, Monday's 2000s.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. We haven't really seen much actually about the 90s. You're right. Like as far as like trailers
that's what I mean,
go,
like nothing.
No, but I mean like that's what I'm saying. As far as the trailers go, we haven't really seen that many like specific 90s traits, which makes me wonder as to like what they're hiding in this episode.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean.
What's gonna happen? The one thing that I did actually want to mention before I forget, because there in a trailer we see the town being like warped by Wanda's power from the regular version into like the 50s version, you know, like it goes from like normal town to black and white vibes. And I was telling you that I feel like that's going to be like a big indicator either of how this all began, of like Wanda trying to like counteract whatever magic is going on, or like a fight that's going to happen later on, because obviously she's not going to try and like reset the town again all the way back down to the 50s.
Yeah. And they have been alluding to like Wanda and Vision together fighting something. So I'm really curious to what ends up being the something. If it's Sword, if it's another villain, or what exactly they're going to be doing to protect the town.
I hope we definitely learn more about how she broke out Vision, like see more about the scene and everything like that.
Well, in the trailer alone, the new one, we see her floating into what looks like the Sword headquarters. So I think we'll probably get more clarity on that.
Also notable to note, because everyone was saying like, everyone was like, what happened to her accent? And like I was saying from the beginning, I'm like, she doesn't have an accent because American sitcoms won't have accents. And then we definitely got that proof in the 5th episode where she comes out of her bubble and she's speaking in her Sokovian accent.
Yeah, I'm glad she kept it.
Oh yeah, I mean, she was gonna like they were gonna have her keep it. You know what I mean? Like, even though it's a very subtle accent, I guess it's like you can at least feasibly say that she's just been like perfecting her American accent this whole time. But it's gonna be really interesting. It's also interesting. The Captain Marvel comment that happened in episode 4, where they're all talking about Scarlet Witch and how powerful she is with matter, and they say, well, she almost took down Thanos by herself, and they're like, well, so did Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
And you just see Monica's face like drop.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely think that there's gonna be some Captain Marvel stuff going on.
Yeah, and you definitely assume they're on bad terms for whatever reason, but it'll be interesting to see how it unplays.
Yeah, I mean, not for some reason. We can easily like know that Carol Danvers was not there when her mom was dying. You know, like I would assume that anyone would be mad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's definitely a lot to think about, a lot to talk about. But this show specifically, we're gonna do it weekly. So after every single episode, we're gonna give you a quicker recap than this one and talk about theories and Easter eggs if we found any. So this is episode 1 of a few. We're excited, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we get better at this.
Yeah, I mean, this is our first one. I've never even really listened to podcasts, so like I have nothing to base this off of right now. I'm just talking.
You're doing great, sweetie.
I'm doing great.
You're doing great.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Like Momager.
Yeah.
Momager Kim Kardashian. Yeah, and then obviously leave comments down below of your own theories. I mean, I'm so curious to see what everyone's thinking. I mean, I feel like I've been like spitballing like very unrealistic theories to Adam for a while now, so it's kind of fun to have an outlet, and I'm hoping some other people are thinking along the same lines. And then also whatever you would like to see from this, because obviously once WandaVision's done, we'll still need content to
move on to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh my god, we're just gonna be a Marvel channel. That's gonna be it.
It's just reviews after every episode.
We should be called Talk Marvel with me.
You know that yeah, pretty much. Oh, we stopped.
Ran out of storage.
I was gonna say, because that starts immediately after this finishes.
We've officially been filming for too long because the memory card got full. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we should likely be called Talk Marvel with me. But hopefully one day we won't just do Marvel content.
Told you, Snyder Cut's coming out soon.
Oh yeah, we'll talk so much about it. It sounds very exciting to me. I mean,
Really
I'm excited about
forward to
like Jared Leto's Joker. That's basically it. But like
Redemption.
That's gonna be it for Talk Nerdy with me.
For now.
For now.
Thanks for listening.